Alright. Sorry guys, just getting the zoom right. We're gonna call this video the quick and dirty kink method video. If you were in my class, you should have a copy of this cross section, and you should be working through this with me. But you're not gonna do it as quick and dirty as I am. I expect you to actually do the kink method fully and not just take the abbreviated steps that I make. So as a reminder, in Kink Method, what you're going to do is find your adjacent sleds, or some people call them tadpoles. They do kind of look like tadpoles. You're going to find the, if you have sleds, they'll kind of look like hinge points, or if you have tadpoles, they're going to look like the heads. You're going to find the little tips, the ball points of those. You're going to find the midpoint between them on the surface. You're going to use that midpoint, draw a little faint line. On one side of that midpoint line, you're going to honor the dip of the tadpole on that side. So here on the right side of this line, we've got a horizontal tadpole. So on this side, at the surface, I'll just draw in a horizontal dip. Whereas on this side, we've got a dip going down into the west, so we would draw a line parallel to this one. The reason why I'm calling this a quick and dirty kink method video is I'm not actually going to be measuring out to make sure I'm parallel to these. I expect you to do that if you are learning the kink method. Now I'm going to take these two lines that come together to make an angle, and I'm going to bisect that angle. And that bisection is going to create zones of dip. So on this side of this line, rocks in this area are all going to dip parallel to this tadpole. And on the right side of this line, all the rocks in this area are going to dip parallel to that horizontal tadpole. And then I can erase all of the work it took to get that line. Okay, so over here we've got horizontal, horizontal, horizontal. So basically this is all one zone, but now we transition to a new dip. So I've got tadpole head, tadpole head. I go right in between those two heads. Project this dip up, project this dip over, bisect that angle. Okay, now I've got 3 zones now, so let's see how long we stay in this zone. Horizontal, horizontal, whoop, we changed. So here we've got a tadpole head here, a tadpole head here, go in the middle. On the left we're horizontal, on the right we're dipping pretty steeply down. Bisect that angle. And we're going to continue to move across the cross section this way. Good, good. If you're thinking there's no way you're ever going to be able to do this fast, just don't let it make you feel bad. Remind yourself that I teach structure and that's my job, right? Your job is to learn. And I'm going to leave this just for now. Okay, so we've got our zones defined. It's okay if yours look a little different than mine. Remember, mine is quick and dirty. So now I'm going to use these locations for wells to help me draw in the subsurface. So let's start with C. C is this unit at the top. I'm going to draw the base of C. Over here, C is horizontal. Then I'm going to assume that C continues up parallel to that tadpole or that sled. That C goes across horizontally. C goes back down. This one I drew a little far to the right. We don't really have any information about contacts on this one, so I'm not going to be super freaked out by how C appears to change bed thickness because I have no idea how thick C was to begin with. Nothing I can do about that. Okay, so now I've kind of got a C trace through, and I can see that it looks like I've got a series of anticlines. So, yeah, that's what it kind of looks like. A series of anticlines coming through here. And each one seems like it's getting maybe progressively bigger, or maybe this one is the biggest. These two might be a little bit smaller. They look fairly asymmetric. So maybe I've got a thrust fault situation going on. It's not unheard of for thrust faults to occur kind of as propagating thrusts going in one direction. So we know that that's a thing. Let's check out this D layer now. D looks like it's going to be pretty thin. Now with D, we are going to worry about maintaining bed thickness because we have C drawn in. So we can actually work on keeping that bed thickness consistent. If you're following dips and really moving with parallel dips, your thicknesses should kind of take care of themselves. If you're always moving in a parallel fashion, you're going to be fine. Okay. I'm going to take over here. Okay. All right, let's do S next. Also, just to throw this out there, if you're a subscriber and you're wondering why all of a sudden you're going to see a huge bump in the number of videos that I put out, it's because I'm a professor, we are going to be going to more online teaching with the coronavirus. So if you're watching this in March of 2020, you are getting extra content because of that. since yours is not going to be quick and dirty, you're not going to have these weird imperfections like mine, and that's okay. Alrighty, follow this over, down, okay. So right about now, you should be noticing that something is up. Something is gonna end up being really hard for me to deal with. The reason for that is we have repeating units. So here I've got O Cambrian, and here I've got SS. What that means is that I have to kind of assume, these thicknesses being the same, that this is actually a fault ramp that's lifting that S unit up and actually either lifting it over, or I guess it could go horizontal here. All right, so D, actually it goes over. Looks like D eventually comes up. So this is a thrust fault surface right here. So S came up, it came over. I put a little extra bend in. I just don't know why. I just did it because I wanted to, I guess. But if we come over here, we see that we have repeating units. So what that means is that there's going to have to be a fault in here too. And the fault is going to have to allow those units to repeat. So here, the fault is going to go in between this Ordovician and this Cambrian. It's going to put old units on top of young units. So what I'm going to do is I am going to draw in that S layer. The S layer is going to come down like that. And now I have this fault surface that I can start working these other units onto. So here I'm going to follow that zone of dip. I'm going to have this little tiny horizontal zone of dip. And then I've got to start coming down at this angle. So going down, down. These are probably going to be horizontal units. I say that because we see them over here. If you're one of my students, I expect you to do as I say, not as I do, and draw that in with a ruler, please. All right. Over here, it looks like this Cambrian unit. The base of that Cambrian unit matches up with the base of this one. Let's check that out. Yep. See if the Ordovician one would match up. Maybe. So that means that this one over here might just be a fold. Might not actually be a fault. But let's see. Can we make it work? This would come up, has to come up in that section, comes back down. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the Cambrian unit. Up and over. I guess you could put in a fault if you wanted. Just a little one right there to bring some of that Precambrian unit up. We don't see the base of that unit, so I don't want to draw it in completely. But you could do it like that. Or you could just say it's folded right there, which is fine. You don't even really need the fault. You don't know how thick the Precambrian unit is, so you can't say that this fault goes down. Okay, so if I bring this over here, I could really start that at any point I want. Could do it here even. Oh well, I think it's an acceptable interpretation as is, even if it's not the most likely thing that's happening right here. Okay, so we've got a fault ramp, or ramp flat situation. That's thrusting and bringing these older units on top of younger units. So I hope that helps. And again, if you're one of my students, I expect you to take your time on this and really learn how to draw in faults associated with Kink Method cross-section construction. Thanks.